When we think of climate change, we think global warming, the Earth slowly turning into endless summer. But shifting world weather patterns are sparing no season. Winter conditions are being altered in dramatic and dangerous ways. I'm chasing freak blizzards in October, intense lake effect snow, and I go on an expedition to some of the worst winter weather in the world. And an experiment that doesn't quite go as planned.
Okay, that's enough! I'm having trouble breathing! Hurry very fast, please! Fast!
From California, you probably have never done this before. But in Canada, it's a way of life.
In North America, we get some of the most brutal winter weather imaginable. Ice storms, huge snow squalls, and traffic snarling blizzards. I'm chasing this winter weather with my friend Mark Robinson, a seasoned storm chaser who has seen his share of wild weather. Late in the season, Mark and I will climb Mount Washington, one of the most inhospitable winter spots in North America. Mount Washington is the highest point in the northeastern United States, and it's a really difficult climb, especially in the winter when the weather conditions get as bad as the Arctic. Now, obviously, it's not wintertime yet, but we're training. We're getting ready for this climb by going to a local ski hill, loading up our backpacks with some extra weight, and trudging up and down the hill, get those legs in shape and get ready to hit the summit.
I am a little out of shape.
You know what? I am going to redistribute some of this weight.
By adding water to the pack, it kind of simulates having more gear.
I wasn't as smart as George. I'm using rocks instead.
Time to hit the trail.
Screams, go back, get off the rock, get off the rock.
We return from our training session to a big surprise.
How do you want this in?
It's Friday the 13th, so that should tell you something. Not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful. Great day here in Toronto. Hour and a half down to the southeast. All hell is breaking loose. We head down to Lake Erie to track this unusual storm. It looks like a beautiful fall day here in southern Ontario, but it belies a bit of an actual emergency that's going on right now.
A lake effect snow warning is in effect until 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time this morning for northern Erie County.
There's lake effect snow squalls, and what happens is you get very cold air going over a warm lake. The moisture gets picked up from the lake and then dumped on the land as snow. There's still leaves on the trees, and the leaves are holding the snow, and all that weight is just breaking the tree limbs and snapping them. Power's that? They're pumping gas by hand there. These lines are all down, trees are down. There's another car spun off the road. That's the third one so far. Oh yeah, look at this, trees down. Look at this, huge branches down here. Yeah, all the traffic lights are out. Gotta be careful. What a mess.
It's actually impressive to see how much damage can be caused by snow on leaves. All these trees lost their branches all over.
And now the cleanup begins. The residents here have to deal with all these downed trees and branches. Power is still out to the area. They're still clearing some of the roads out.
I can't believe this is October. This looks like January.
No kidding.
But what I love is the white snow
Yeah.
and the green leaves on the trees.
Don't see that too often.
You don't see that hardly ever.
Most of the storm has passed, but we're still left with the residual wind and waves here on Lake Erie. There's lots of wind. The wind here coming off Lake Erie is probably about 80 kilometers an hour. And it's pushing huge waves up against the shore. Oh, cold. Oh, I can barely feel my fingers. Yeah, it looks like a nice sunny day, but it's freaking cold. As this insane winter weather intensifies, Mark and I split up. He tracks a massive snow squall coming in off Lake Huron, while I get blasted with freezing spray further south.
Okay, this storm system right now is producing huge waves on Lake Ontario, freezing rain, snow, and further south in the United States, tornadoes are outbreaking right now across the southeastern U.S. This is a huge weather system. It's winter weather up here in the north, severe thunderstorms in the south. These waves are absolutely huge, and it's very icy here. So it makes for some extremely treacherous conditions. Here comes another one. Woo!
Hello?
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm driving through snow.
I'm in a big grapple shower right now.
Oh my God, this system's unbelievable.
It's like a hailstorm here.
Like, oh my God, you should see how gorgeous it looks from here, though.
Look at this stuff. That's grapple. It's kind of like hailstones, but smaller and mushier. Look at it all. Whoa! Thunder snow. This is crazy.
I'm back in Burlington. It's absolutely incredible. The freezing spray is just covering everything, including me. I'm very wet.
Whenever you put wind, water, and freezing cold together, you get ice. I wanted to do an experiment to see how much ice my body could stand. So I turn up the deep freeze, with some frightening results.
I'm having trouble breathing.
In a few weeks, Mark and I head for Mount Washington, where intense cold and off-the-charts wind speeds combine to create huge ice buildup. I wanted to test the effect all this ice could have on my body, so I've come back to the National Research Council's wind tunnel in Ottawa, where last summer I did a hurricane wind speed experiment. Today, I'll be a human popsicle.
I'm a bit warm and cautiously optimistic. Very claustrophobic.
Because it's about minus 20 outside, the wind tunnel will accurately simulate the conditions on the mountain. I start to ice up almost immediately. Then, a big problem. The ice forming on my helmet has cut off my air supply. I start to panic.
Holy Okay, I'm having trouble breathing. Hurry very fast, please. Fast! Blow down my face mask. That's it. It's over.
I need the safety crew to react quickly to get me out.
Okay, go get the mask. Get the mask. Ah, that's better. Woo! The problem is not the cold.
No more air coming in.
It's the ice buildup makes it tough to breathe. But I'm okay now. I could have gone a bit longer, but I was worried about how long it was going to take for you guys to get me out. And that was the concern, so that's when I cut it off. It's frightening. Truly frightening being in there when you have a hard time breathing. It's going to be hard getting me out of this, isn't it? Okay, that was insane. Almost suffocating in a sheet of ice. Actually, how about if I jump up and down a little bit right here?
On the way back from the test center, I run into another huge squall. Literally, run into it.
I hit the snowbank, and now I'm stuck. Oh, I can't even get out of the car.
This was not my intention.
You can never underestimate winter weather. If you go out and the conditions are bad, if you're unprepared, you could get trapped maybe for days.
Finally, it's time for my friend Mark Robinson and I to head for Mount Washington. We do a preliminary survey of the summit from a neighboring ski area.
Truth be told, I've only skied like twice before in my entire life. The objective? Try not to break an arm or a leg, because I gotta climb that mountain tomorrow. So there's the view of Mount Washington from Wildcat Ski Hill. At the very top of the mountain, you can see the small buildings. That's the observatory where I'm headed. It's way above the tree line. Off to the left is Tuckerman's Ravine. Off to the right is Huntington Ravine. And the path leads up and along that ridge above tree line right up to the summit.
I'm not taking the climb lightly. 139 people have died trying to climb these New Hampshire mountains. Mark and I are about to climb Mount Washington, which claims to have the worst winter weather in the world.
The weather is starting to clear nicely for us. We got blue sky right now. I don't know how long that's going to hold on for. It's hard to imagine you're so warm climbing a mountain like this, but that's what it's like here, exerting a tremendous physical force. You got to strip right down. Just keep from sweating. You sweat, you die. How's it going so far, Mark?
My glasses starting to fog up a little. My body's fogging up a little. So far, so good, though.
Nice view. We still got a long ways to go. Harder than it looks. I don't know, it looks pretty hard. Terrain's getting a lot steeper now, a lot more sidestepping. Pretty soon we'll have to get the crampons on once we get into the even steeper terrain.
The crampons give you the extra traction you need for the very steep section ahead. Climate change is having an effect on weather patterns everywhere, even at 6,000 feet.
The conditions this year have been so warm, Normally, this time of year, the snow level is about this high, and now the trees are above my head. And I've never seen that in my 8 years here. Global warming.
We're making really good progress today. So we started off down here at Pinkham Notch. We've worked our way up to Lion's Head, which overlooks Tuckerman's Ravine. And then it's just a short ways up to the summit. The conditions are getting harsher and the climbing more dangerous. So our mountain guides give us a lesson in self-arrest techniques.
Let's get into your work.
Man, I was going so fast to the bottom, I didn't know which way was up. I am feeling the burn.
We're about 15 minutes from the summit. We are on the eastern snowfield. We are not on Lion's Head Trail. The final summit push. We're almost there.
Perfect.
We finally make the summit and say goodbye to our climbing guides, who take the express route down. This place is like being on another planet. But the weather today is not typical. The wind blows here like nowhere else.
We just pulled the chart off and the winds are about 110 sustained. We just had a gust to 121.
Jim Salgi knows just how bad it can
It's
get.
really strong outside. How long do you think it's going to continue? When you go outside in a 100-mile-an-hour wind, it's hard to keep your feet. You do a lot of crawling. The force against you is just absolutely unbelievable. You're pushed backwards and often are reversed to just crawling or sliding along the ground. It's built to withstand the winds that we have up here.
Jim shows me around, including the location of the fastest surface wind speed in recorded history.
But the most famous building that we have on the summit is the stage office right here. So we're coming around to the front of the building that the world record wind was clocked in. Back in 1934, we recorded a gust of 231 miles an hour on this peak. Wow. It was recorded right here in this building.
So these chains are actually here to bolt this building to the mountain.
It's chained right to the bedrock, and the hope is that this will hold the building down in all subsequent gusts up here.
Keep walking forward.
Yeah.
Now look up.
Oh, amazing.
Isn't it cool?
Talk about ice sculptures. This place is absolutely incredible.
Like, look at this.
I know. These delicate little, they're like feathers. How delicate is it?
You breathe on it, gone.
Show me. All this rime ice that's formed on all the buildings and, well, basically everything out here. The fences, the railings, the buildings. It's like these ornate ice sculptures. So explain to me how all this rime ice forms. It's everywhere.
Well, this is essentially frozen fog. Fog will stay a liquid until minus 40 degrees. But as soon as it hits something up here in a 100-mile-an-hour wind, it freezes instantly. We'll get rime ice that'll grow out at 3 to 5 inches every hour. Part of the challenge up here in working the weather station is to remove this ice from the instruments to make sure it doesn't build up.
The amounts of rime ice that build up is just absolutely unbelievable. Look at this. Wow. This winter wonderland is about to become a maelstrom. here's a great example of how the weather here can just change on a dime. About an hour ago, it was blue sky and sunny. Now, the clouds have moved in, we've got a lot of fog, and you can't really tell where the ground ends and the sky begins because it's nothing but white on white. You gotta watch your step. Time to head for shelter as the temperature plummets outside. It's about 6:30 in the morning right now, and the conditions on the mountain are really deteriorating. The winds have picked up, visibility is almost nil. There's snow blowing around everywhere, and the rime ice is starting to accumulate on all the structures. So I can't wait to get out in it, but boy, it's really gonna be hard to see anything.
As you can plainly see, the visibility here is absolutely atrocious. You can barely see from building to building, and if you don't know exactly where you're going, you can get very disoriented and fall off the mountain. Whoa! All this ice, brand new. It accumulates so quickly. We're getting tremendous gusty winds, snow, ice forming very quickly. Basically whiteout conditions. Frostbite is a serious concern right now. I'm worried about my cheeks.
Yeah, I tried this last.
It's really windy.
Get back. Yeah, your nose starts to go white at the end.
The conditions have become so bad, even I've had enough.
It's time to go back. We're done. This is the Snowcat. Up here on Mount Washington, it's the only way to get here in the wintertime. Either that or hike.
This machine doesn't stop for anything. And given the changing winter weather patterns, maybe this will be my next storm chasing vehicle.